something pretty wild, honestly. We're talking about an audio file, right? Just a regular, .m4a file. But this one is called Conversation with My Beloved Soul.
Yeah, catchy title, right?
No kidding. But it gets even weirder because this is supposedly an actual conversation between someone and their soul.
It's definitely not your average voice memo. This is like getting a glimpse into someone's deepest thoughts, their whole inner world. We are talking about big concepts here. Consciousness, self-discovery, even what reality is, all that good stuff.
Exactly. And get this, we've got Spanish phrases, talk of mystical experiences, and then there's this David character. It's a lot to unpack.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So to set the scene a bit, this audio file, it starts with this incredibly soothing voice, right? Like super calming. And it's talking about constant renewal. It's saying that each second is a brand new experience, almost like our consciousness is always expanding with every passing moment.
It does have that meditative quality to it, doesn't it? Like a guide, almost, gently nudging this David, whoever he is, toward like a higher state of awareness, to experience things beyond our normal senses. There's even this interesting part where it talks about perceiving things from other dimensions or realms, which is pretty wild.
Right. And it's not just about like expanding your mind or anything. There's also this recurring theme of patience and trust throughout the conversation, this idea of letting things unfold naturally. Like there's this whole analogy to hair growth, of all things, as a metaphor for spiritual growth.
It's a pretty striking comparison, isn't it? When you think about it, hair grows without us having to, force it or even really think about it.
It's just natural.
Exactly. And that's kind of the point this voice is making about self-discovery, right? It's not a race or a competition.
Which, let's be real, is easy to forget these days. It's so easy to get caught up in comparing yourself to others and where they're at with their lives.
100%. But this soul is basically saying, hey, chill out, everyone's on their own path, and comparing yourself to others just isn't helpful.
It's so true. Okay, but here's where things take a weird turn. We go from this ethereal conversation about patience and growth, and all of a sudden, boom, the internet is mentioned. And then there's this word, yar, which honestly could be a typo, but still, it's like this recording is trying to bridge the gap between spiritual experiences and, well, our modern tech-obsessed world.
I know, right? It makes you wonder, like, is this conversation with the soul something we can actually access through technology?
It's kind of a mind-blowing thought.
Totally. And it really begs the question, if we could tap into this inner voice, this deeper part of ourselves, would it change how we experience reality?
It's wild. And then, almost like it wants to bring us back down to earth after all that heady stuff, the voice comes back with this very simple but powerful message. Quédate en el momento, quédate en la experiencia.
Which means?
Stay in the moment, stay in the experience.
Exactly. And that's such a fundamental concept in so many spiritual traditions, right? This idea of being present, of fully experiencing whatever is happening right now without getting lost in regrets about the past or worries about the future.
It really makes you stop and think. And speaking of things that make you think, can we talk about this whole David situation for a second?
Yeah, the mysterious David.
Who is he in all of this? Is he just passively listening to this conversation with his soul, or is there something more to his role?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because on one hand, it seems like this recording is intended for David, right?
Yeah.
Like a direct message from his own soul. But on the other hand, here we are listening in on this incredibly personal and intimate dialogue.
So are we meant to be a part of this too?
Yeah, it's almost as if this soul is speaking to David, but also to us, the listeners,
It's like we're not just eavesdropping on a conversation, but we're actually participants in it. And I have to say, that's a pretty wild thought to end on. But we want to hear from you. What do you think about all of this? What do you think David's role is in all of this? Let us know.